Hello, welcome back. It's deadline day. We are flying solo for now. Charlie, I'm all alone. I've got all the other boys are off doing matches in Benidorm, and this news completely hit us completely unsurprised, to be fair. Not even a rumor about it. So let's talk about it. This is going to be a really quick one, just because I know a couple of people in the chat will want to talk about the news. Shimanga has moved to Fleetwood on loan. Kind of crazy, actually, when you think about it. We bought him for 250k this summer. We paid the buy option on the loan from Chesterfield, and after making very few appearances, no starts in the league, now he's been loaned out to Fleetwood for the season. Maybe this could be the making of him. You never know, but it is a weird one. Anyway, let's have obviously on my own, so I don't really have anyone to bounce off of. So in the chat, if you guys could give your opinions, that would be great, very helpful. Rio says, "Thank God he's bad." Yeah, I mean, listen, he came in with some caliber. I mean, Posh were battled with Birmingham City to get him, so it's not terrible. It wasn't a terrible signing at the time, and we needed a striker, but it's a weird one. I have to agree with you, Lebosh Posh. I kind of wish he'd gone as well, because then that means that we've got to get him back next summer and try and sell him next summer. If he has a good season, we'll keep him probably, but his value's probably going to go down if he has a bad season. It just doesn't really make sense. But hopefully, Posh are going to replace him, because that does leave us with a hole in our squad, really, doesn't it? Just constantly reloading this. So yeah, that's two gone for the day. Two gone. Tomlinson, Shimanga. Tomlinson didn't really need a replacement, but Shimanga sort of does. I'm worried, because I think, what if the replacement is Ricky? What if the replacement is Ephron Mason-Clark to play up front, Ricky on the wing? It doesn't see. I really hope there's a replacement, a proper replacement striker coming in. Yes, Lebosh Posh, I do. Stan says, why didn't they sell him to Wrexham? I mean, listen, apparently we had bids for Shimanga. I'm not sure if we how much the bids were, but apparently we had bids of 500,000. I'm not sure that those figures are correct, because I think if it was 500,000, we would have accepted it straight away, because we would have made a 250 grand profit in one window. But yeah, I have to admit, it's a really weird one that we've loaned him out rather than just selling him completely. Rio says, if Jono goes, we really need a replacement. Well, doesn't look like Jono is going to go, actually. If you watch, Dara's was on TalkSport for about half an hour, just in and out, and he spoke about Posh at the beginning, and he said that clubs are absolutely nowhere near the valuation for Ronnie Edwards and for Johnson Clark-Harris. So you never know. Watch him play like R9 at Fleetwood. I mean, that probably will happen. I think realistically he'll have a clause, hopefully, that we can get him back in January. Hopefully, anyway. But yeah, always believe in. Joel Randall says, we need to sign Ali, because it's realistic that Jono leaves, but I think Edwards will stay because West Ham are looking for other centre-backs. Yeah, I think Edwards is going to stay, and I think Jono's going to stay as well, because realistically, both players we've got very high valuations for, and I don't think any of the clubs that have come in for either of the players so far are going to reach those valuations. Shimanga. Shimanga probably didn't want to go to Wales. That's very possible, although Fleetwood's a very long way away from here anyway, so he is still going to move a long way. Lebosh Posh, I don't want him back at all. Well, we're going to get him back. There's no, or at least it looks like we're going to get him back. There is no announced buy option in the loan. DeMarcus, can't wait for him to score a hat-trick against us. I mean, hopefully we'll have a clause. Usually in the loan, you have a clause where the player can't play against you, but that's possible. Why don't we try for Mullin? One, because he's on very, very ridiculously high wages. 2, because he's too old. And also, I think with his Cambridge links, he wouldn't come here. George said, have you seen what D-Mac said on Sky? I did. I watched it. I was actually just lying on my bed watching the TV with it on mute, scrolling through TikTok. And I saw he was quickly on the Sky. So I quickly rewound it. And yeah, seems like he's a bit frustrated, if I'm honest with you, at least from a posh perspective. He seemed to be a bit annoyed that clubs hadn't correctly met the valuation for Ronnie Edwards and for Jonson Clarke-Harris, and he seems perfectly happy now for both players to stay. So, I mean, it's good because it's going to be very difficult to find a replacement for both players. But yeah, dramatic deadline day. Not really, actually. A lot of people said it was going to be very dramatic. It's not really been like that so far. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but have you been bored? I mean, I've been a bit bored. I've been sat here waiting for something to happen to quickly get on the live stream, but no, nothing. This is really the first thing that happened. Rovers chairman kept FaceTiming him. I didn't see that. I think I can't tell whether you're joking or not. I don't think that happened. Can't see Jono going today, but still I can see Ronnie going. Yeah, I think Ronnie's the closest to go out of the two, but still, apparently the bidders are miles off for both of them. We're overpricing him because of the sell-on clause. Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that has to be considered. Dara didn't deny that Barnet have a half sell-on clause. Trying to get him to bump up the cash. Yeah, maybe. Feel sorry for Tshimanga. I said last season he needed game time, never given a run of games to find form. Very, very harsh. Yeah, I mean, it is harsh, but to be fair, at last season, we couldn't risk. It was kind of a must. Every game was a must win because of the playoff push. So it was hard, really hard fingers, or Scott, sorry, should I say, to get that deal through. Mullin, yeah, he is actually injured at the moment, but I just don't see. I know Mullin's a name that gets mentioned sometimes too with Posh. That's never happening in my opinion. Said on Sky, I mean, yeah, Bristol Rovers have bet very openly. You know, their manager said it, their chairman said it. They're trying to do a deal for Jonson Clarke-Harris. They're just not anywhere close to the valuation so far. Been pretty good for the Prem. Yeah, to be fair, DeMarcus, it's actually been very, very decent for the Premier League. Brennan Johnson is a good one. I think that's an interesting signing for Spurs. Salah, 150 million. I mean, at some point you just got to accept it and sign someone else because John says, not joking though. So, I mean, yeah, there will have been phone calls, FaceTimes, whatever. There will have been those if they're negotiating for one of our players. Right, so now we've got to 5. It's 5:15 on deadline day, so there's just shy of 5 hours. No, just over 5 hours, 45 minutes until the deadline. I think I've done my maths right. So that means that we have got still loads of time for stuff to happen, loads of time for transfers in and out to happen. I want to hear your guys in the chat's thoughts. What is going to happen? Are Ronnie and Jono both going to stay from what you've heard? Will they have gone earlier? I'm not sure what really we're talking about. Why is Jono not going to Saudi? If I'm honest with you, I doubt he is on the top of any Saudi club's transfer list. Not because he's not a good player, but just because, you know, if you're playing in League One, they're the other side of the world and they, you know, are unlikely to know who Jonson Clarke-Harris is. I don't think Liverpool will sell for anything. Yeah, 500 million. No, the thing is, it's stupid from the Saudi club to put this bid in now, because if they put this bid in a month ago, there's a good chance it would have been accepted because Liverpool would have had time to find a replacement for Salah. But they haven't. That's a simple fact. They haven't had the time. So, yeah, I think they've kind of shot themselves in the foot by not doing it earlier. Because if they had done it earlier, I think Liverpool would have gone, you know, 170 million. Let's get it up to 200, and then we can buy 2 world-class wingers to replace Salah. Completely agree with you. When I watched him against Charlton, he was awful, but we need to keep Jono because I can't see us. I think that's what he said. I can't see us signing a striker. I mean, we have to sign a striker. I want us to sign a striker even now. It's sort of scary now with only Jono. If Jono gets injured, what do we do? I mean, we'll obviously find a way to muddle through, but we'll be not in a good chance. 70% chance of JCH going. I think I don't see Darren McAntony breaking on this one. I think Darren is going to be pretty firm in his price tag with very little movement on it. DeMarcus, we'll be live for the final 2 to 3 hours of the transfer window. It depends what's happening, if I'm honest with you. We'll definitely be live for the deadline at 11, so all of you join us for that. I think I've already got the stream scheduled for 10:45. I think that's going to start at the latest. So we'll see each other over the deadline, and we'll do a countdown and talk about we'll all rate the transfer window out of 10 for Posh. I think we probably won't be live for the entire 2 to 3 hours, because if nothing's happening, then there's nothing really to talk about. And we've already done our preview for tomorrow's game. That being said, if you haven't watched the preview for tomorrow's game, obviously stay with me for now. Then after this game, go back onto the channel and watch our preview for tomorrow's Portsmouth game. It's only 8 minutes long, very easy watch, very fast paced. We'll be all good. Lebosh Posh, we still need another striker. I agree with you. I think we definitely need a new striker, and I think that there may be one coming soon, hopefully. I haven't heard anything. Ricky is a Jono replacement. 2 strikers, hopefully now. I mean, yes, this was a weird one. We spoke about this earlier. I don't know if you were here, Fingers. Billy Sharp signed for LA Galaxy, which is a strange transfer, a random one. I don't think Jono will go, says Eggmac. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Jono is unlikely. We need a striker. What centre-back? If I'm honest with you, I don't know that many centre-backs outside of sort of the big ones that we're not going to get. We were looking at this guy that plays for Colchester, 21 years old, ball playing, sort of like Ronnie. But no, I don't think either player, I don't see Ronnie or Jono going now, which is interesting. Favourite shirt this season? Do you mean Posh shirt? Or my favourite Posh shirt this season is... So I bought this one because I thought this would be the best one, but I actually prefer the third one, so I'm going to get that soon. Favourite shirt? Man City's. What shirt is it? I'll try to see if I can get it up on the screen here. I can't get it up on the screen. It's a Man City one. I think it's a third kit. Maybe their away kit. It's like white, and it's got it's white with like brown up like on the collar and on the sleeves, and it's really nice. I like that a lot, and it just looks clean and like old fashioned and good. Anything else in chat? Anything else we want to discuss? Yeah, I think every Posh fan actually. Will every Posh fan want to keep hold of both? Because I don't think I do. Okay, this is unpopular, but I think Jonson Clarke-Harris is an unbelievable striker, unbelievable man, lovely guy. Met him before. He's so nice, but I think that he's not the most sensible player for us to have in this window. And if we can find a good replacement, I'd more than happily see him go. Obviously, I'd be sad because I'm going to miss seeing Jonson Clarke-Harris in a Peterborough shirt, and he's been an absolute hero for us. But with the current system, I'm not sure. Rio, oh my word, yes, Rio, I did see that. They were 3-1 up with 8 minutes left, and they lost 4-3, which is very, very rough. I feel sorry for them. I went to their game again on Tuesday as well, did some media stuff for the club at the game, and they got beat 7-1 by QPR, and they weren't even that bad. Granted, there were a lot of players missing because of the Pompey Carabao Cup game, but still, it was a difficult game. Yeah, I think some of you agree. Yeah, JCH is too slow for the rebuild, too old for the rebuild. I completely agree with you there. Not too old. If he was faster and more agile, then maybe he'd be fine. But I want them both here unless we could bring in a young, fast, good goal scorer. Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, I wouldn't want us to get rid of him for some absolute rotter. But if we could find a good replacement, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I don't think. Surprised Birmingham. Yeah, I thought Mason Clark would have more interest this summer, but I also think that we slapped a ridiculous price tag on him. And because we've given him the captaincy, he's not going to be massively fussed about leaving. So I think we've actually played it really well with that from Mason Clark. Same with Pocky, to be fair. So I was a bit surprised. I thought they'd been more interested in him this summer. But on the other hand, it's good for us that he's still staying. Let's have a look at just looking at the article that Fleetwood have released about signing Tshimanga, and Shimanga's going to wear number 7 for Fleetwood. Apparently, am I reading that right? I'm wearing the number 7 shirt, Kabongo 7. Actually, that's a really interesting shout. This Ross Stewart for Sunderland is gone, isn't he? £10 million to Southampton is what's going to happen. Will there be a last-minute panic bid for Jonson Clarke-Harris? They were in for him in January. That's right. Dara confirmed that. Could they then go with that 10 million and go, we need a striker? Who have we got? Oh, Clarke-Harris, he's on the transfer list, £2 million. Last seconds of the window. That'll put us in an awkward position because you've got to accept it. But then who do we bring in to do better? It's a difficult one. Who do you think is the most overrated and underrated for Posh? Overrated? Overrated? That's a really difficult question. Oh, that's really That's a really. Who do you guys in the chat think? Who is the most overrated and underrated player? Underrated, I think it's Kyprianou, without a doubt. Oh, Burrows is a good shout for overrated. I mean, I like Burrows. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's quite as good as some people say he is. Is Flint still? No, he signed for Mansfield, so we'll see him in a couple of weeks' time, won't we? For that the Christy Pym derby. Yeah, I disagree with that. Billa Cabbage is underrated. I think he's very good, and I think he has his haters, but I think overall people do see that he's a good player. Let me just check the news, guys. Just make sure we don't miss anything. Nothing in yet. Still about bringing in any players, or nothing in about Jono or Ronnie Edwards. Yeah, I agree with you. He's my number 1. Always believe in Joel Randall. Oh, he's my number 1. Ali thingy. I don't think Burrows is over. See, I don't know, because I actually don't really like Burrows in the 10. He makes me a bit. He's a trier. He works hard, but I don't. I don't know. I don't see him particularly as a 10 or a left back, which is worrying, because what then is he? Fingers, is Flint still a free agent? No, he isn't. He got snapped up by Mansfield on a free. Give us a chant. Ooh. What's my favourite chant? I have to admit, I'm a big fan of... well, obviously, because we're called Borough on my mind, I'm going to have to go with woke up this morning, feeling fine. Like that chant a lot. I'd have thought Tshimanga now at Fleetwood, that means that JCH isn't going anywhere. Well, either means that JCH isn't going anywhere, or that we're going to have to bring in 2 strikers, which is kind of crazy. But even if JCH doesn't go anywhere, I still hope we're trying to bring in a striker to replace Tshimanga, but then it's a loan deal, so maybe we're going to loan someone in. He's the only experienced player we have left. He's got to stay. Yeah, I mean, I disagree, actually, because I think he's the only older player that we've got left, but I disagree that he's the only experienced player because I have to admit I've got. Is he the only? No, because there's players that have got loads of experience. You know, played a lot of games. Ronnie's played championship games. Critchlow has played a lot of games. So has Kioso's played a lot of football. Bilikapic, fine, inexperienced. Archie Collins has played a lot of football. Kiprianu's played a decent amount of football for Posh. Randall, a bit inexperienced. Mason Clark is inexperienced, but that never seems to phase him. Poku, sometimes you can see his inexperience, and Jono obviously is highly experienced. If we get a new left back, we will have our vice captain on the bench. Yeah, that's a bit weird. I honestly, I think Max is a firm advocate for this, that he doesn't necessarily agree with either of either the captain or the vice captain. I'm not sure, if I'm honest with you. I think that Kiprianu would have been a very good shout for one of the two roles. Underrated for me is Critchlow says always believe in Joel Randall. Yes, I think Critchlow is underrated. Actually, no, I think Critchlow is rated fairly, but I think the people saying Critchlow, turning on Critchlow and saying he's not very good are wrong. I tell you what, this has been 24 minutes and it's absolutely flown by. Thank you guys for making it easy. And I'm not seeing the Joel Randall song right this second. Eggmac. Maybe if we sign a striker, maybe I'll do it. John says, can you add Fuchs signing a new deal? And he is a good midfielder and probably my favourite player. Has he signed a new deal? I mean, to be fair, we heard Burrows was going to sign a new deal. I mean, have you guys seen Burrows sign a new deal? I know it was people saying Dara said that he's going to talk about his new contract at St George's Park, and he didn't. So Burrow's still on that same contract. Joel Randall is the best song. It's a good song. It's a very good song. But also the guy that has the lyrics as his name would probably say that. Poku gone by 11. I've said it. You can look. I have the receipts. If you look on my Twitter, I said that it's worrying me about Poku that there's been so little interest in that someone's going to come in with a ridiculous bid. I did say that, and he's still around, but you know, maybe he will just come out, will just stay, but I see something happening with him perhaps. Critchlow will keep improving. Trust me, I agree. He's young and he needs experience, but he's settled into the system well and looks to be a bit of a good organizer, good defensively. Fuchs is a good backup. I agree, but he's injured, so he's not a backup for us right now. Mason or Kwame? Ooh, I prefer. Yeah. Well, Kwame is younger, isn't he? But Mason Clark is arguably better. If I had to pick to sell one of them, I'd rather sell Kwame Poku. How do you feel about about having only young goalkeepers? I don't care. It's shown that you don't need an experienced goalkeeper. This whole notion that you need an experienced goalkeeper is an absolute lie. There are so many good young goalkeepers out there today, and the only way that you can get an experienced goalkeeper is by letting them have experience. So I am quite firmly in the camp of the whole inexperienced argument is a bit of a cop out, because I actually think you're either good enough as a goalkeeper or not good enough. Just even though the boys aren't here, they're on the texting on the group. Max has just said, I said there's a world when we get no one in. We are living in that world. I mean, listen, if we don't sign anyone today, Dara's going to get some backlash. I'm not going to be fuming. I'm not going to start shouting and getting angry. But, I think it will be interesting considering that we had the sort of perfect depth of two players in each position. We've got that now for everyone. except for striker. So I think we need a striker. Tally is my number 2. I think he's better than Blackmore. I mean, he's going to have to be number 2 anyway because Blackmore's not going to play football again this year because of his hip injury. DeMarcus, Nottingham Forest have made an inquiry for Trevor Chalobah. Yeah, I saw that. £25 million, I think they were saying, which is a good deal for both clubs, to be fair. It would be good to get a player in for Forest that's that good, and also Chelsea need the money for financial fair play reasons, so it seems to make sense, that deal. Probably go through, I'd suspect. How is obviously, so we've got the 10:45 stream that will happen regardless. Obviously, if anything crazy happens in the next between now and then, which I'm hoping something will happen, because we were hoping for a very dramatic deadline day, but it's not really been that way so far. But if anything happens between sort of 12 between now and 10:45 this evening, then we'll be live, hopefully with more than just me this time to discuss it. But other than that, I think we've pretty much discussed the Tchimanga thing. Can you see any of the wingers being playing or being? The only one I can see that could possibly do that is Mason Clark. Ricky could, but he needs to seriously work on his finishing. I want to keep the money. I want to keep. I know the money is good, but he's got everything. Yeah, I agree. I think you're talking about Ronnie Edwards there, I assume. I'd love to keep him forever, but that's not going to happen because he's not going to be happy staying at Posh for the rest of his career unless we get promoted. Chuck Kai Corbett into the team. I mean, listen, he's got caliber. He came from West Ham's academy. We paid a good fee for him. He's done well in the under-21s. He, I think, will be the next one to take the step up from the under-21s, him or James Donnelly. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, keep Ronnie Edwards. I assume that when you said he has everything. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting end to the window regardless, because either we'll have Ronnie Edwards or Jonathan Clark-Harris till January, which will be interesting, or we'll have some drama happening. So I'm going to say I agree with you about Corbett that he needs some cup games before he plays in the first team consistently. I'm going to end it here because I'm all alone and I want to save my voice for later because I have a feeling that this transfer window isn't quite done. Keep the lookout on Twitter because that's where we're going to let you know about when we'll next be live. Just assume if there's some big news that we'll be back live on the channel very shortly. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for helping me get through this stream, considering I was on my own, so it's great of you guys to help me. Thank you. Elsie says nice pot plant. I know, it's quite fancy. I thought if I'm going to have all the Peterborough United stuff behind me, I should at least class it up a little bit with putting a pot plant there. So yeah, that's what we've done. Anyway, thank you so much to everyone that's watched today. All the streams so far and this one. We'll see you very shortly for another one, probably, if not 10:45 this evening, to come and count down the last seconds of the window with us. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you later.